We are live. The countdown has begun. Let's go over and make it public. It doesn't show public until I change it. Oh, okay. We are public. Hello, everybody. What's up? What's going on tonight? It is Thursday, and let's see if we can. There we go. Oh, we can't do that. Here we are. Here is our co-host, Jason. What's up, Jason? We got people in the boxes, you guys. This is episode 12, back from a little hiatus. You may or may not have seen any of our earlier episodes. We're still in early quote early stages of the show, but I think we've had fun so far. Got a lot of comments already, so I hope everyone's not burned out already. Let's see. Oh, we got a lot of shares happening, a lot of comments. What's up, guys? How's everybody doing?
Love it, guys. Hello, everybody.
I know we have a couple other people who.
How's the volume?
You sound a lot better, man. I don't know what happened, but it's a lot better.
Sound better? Awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
What's up, Jeremy? What's up, guys? Okay, I'm going to post the link in the comments. So if anybody wants to come up, they are welcome. Just no dongs, please. That's all I ask. Hiatus. You may forgot I was sharing my system sound. All right, so I did do some research and found out some things I didn't expect, actually. I thought it was going to be kind of cut and dry, but...
Thank you, Dale, for the 50 stars. Look at that, Waylon.
Dale,
thanks, now with stars.
Thank you. That's
yeah, that, buddy.
Make me feel like I made the right decision here by not going through the page. In fact, I should probably share to the page quickly.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
Facebook user, make sure to give StreamYard access to your account, guys.
Not everyone can do that. I try to. I'm kind of stuck both ways on that one, because while I would like them to do that, I also know that I can't do that myself. So I'm like, shit, should I be? But I know some people like Buds gets a little testy about it. I'm like, man, I'm not going to take off my professional account. It's not happening. But,
good evening, Stoner Steve-O. I've seen that message you sent me, buddy. I'll get to that as soon as we get done with our shows tonight.
Let's see. Copy link.
Hello, Charlene. Heather, thank you for the 50 stars. Waylon, another 50 stars from Heather Hatzel.
Heather, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Trying to share this too.
Thank you guys so much for the support. Waylon's out here trying. He's trying. He's doing his thing, getting it down.
I have a vision for where this show can go, and while we're not there yet, I think it'll be there eventually. You guys, if you're just tuning in, if you're watching this after we're live and you're trying to figure out what's going on here, first of all, I should have changed my.
Hello, Miss Charlene. Yes, we can see you, dear. Thank you for joining us over here. Oh, and there's that Justin Sider kid. How you doing, Justin?
Wasn't sure if he was going to stop by or not. Let's see. Let me fix my banner here. This one.
Well, of course, for poor people who can't get a job, we're fucking lazy. We want to sit here on the computer. What the fuck do you mean? Send me your money. Give me your fucking money.
Hey, listen, I had banners running across the bottom of the screen with my Cash App, and no one wants to use that. So this actually is a little bit better. Let's see. Oh, that says episode 12. Good. Hold on. So there are 12 episodes or not? I couldn't find the 12th episode.
I think we had 11. You had a replay, didn't you? Or you did skip a number or something?
Did we talk about sleep? Pretty sure we did.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Jeremy?
What's going on?
What's going on, man? We're going to get into the topic here shortly. I'm just want to make sure that I think I might have misnumbered this episode again. I swear I looked everywhere I went.
I'm pretty close to the 50. Pretty close to the 50, Justin.
Okay.
Hello, Sabrina.
He He must have looked for the comments. Is Mel coming?
She is probably still napping. She didn't leave the casino until about 5 o'clock.
Wow. Well,
yeah, she was at the casino for like many hours. So she said if she's awake, she's going to jump in. Look at all these stars that just got sent. Holy shit.
Whoa. I'm not looking at
Jessica
that. Sorry,
Parker
guys.
sent 50 stars. Jessica Parker,
Thank you.
50 stars. Look at this. Bang, bang. Bang, bang. Heather Hassel, another 50 stars. Look at you, Waylon.
I definitely misnumbered
Love
this.
that. Hello, Kayla. It's all right. We here. That's all that matters.
Okay.
We here. Spreading the education, spreading the love. Hello, Melissa. Good evening, Tabitha.
Boom. There we go.
You got 28
people in the house
right now.
That's awesome. That's amazing, you guys. I appreciate it. 9 likes. Let's try to switch that. Fix that ratio, guys. Now
hit that like button, guys. Everybody hit that like
we're looking.
Button.
We are definitely looking for some ladies tonight.
There's Cody with the 50 stars.
Sorry,
Cody with the 50 stars. Loving it.
Awesome, you guys. This is awesome. I don't even see the stars on my screen, so
loving it. Oh, you got a bunch of stars. Bunch of stars, guys. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Make sure to follow Waylon up there, the indoor farmer.
Let's go.
We got a lot of male opinions up here right now. We do want some female opinions. Now, believe it or not, this topic does affect us men. I didn't know it until I was reading about it. What you both are going to talk about. Yes, Jenna.
Thank you for that, Kayla. Appreciate that.
Jenna, we have our perspective too, on the whole situation. Like the man, if you expect a man to be whatever sort of way, then they're going to experience it with you. But we're going to get into that.
What the fuck is the subject?
Postpartum depression.
Why?
Because, so listen, okay, guys, this is where I came up with this. The first episode we did was on PTSD, and there's a lot of different PTSDs. And so, Justin, you don't have to, buddy. I know this isn't your, honestly, you can crack as many jokes as you want because that's the point. We want to make this light and funny.
I pull out and I don't have to deal with this shit.
There you go. Well, this is the thing though. If you expect to have kids, then you should know a little bit about this because, you're asking someone to potentially go through it.
I don't want children.
Well, then that's your perspective. You don't want to have to go through it. You don't have to deal with it at all.
Like we might as well be talking about the fibers of tampons while we're at it.
Hey, you could use those if you ever have a wound or bullet hole. Okay. Anyway,
what did I should have looked at the subject before I came in here.
It's okay. You don't have to hang out. I appreciate you stopping through. It's the reason we talked about it, and I was wondering if it was even worth talking about. And we talked about it on the shit show with Jason and Melanie and the whole crew. I think Jess was there too, and they think it's important because while it's something that people sort of just slough off, it's something that can lead to PTSD. And he's squirming. Now, our PTSD episode was kind of pigeonholed to just like first responders and military. And all these people were commenting and saying, what about this PTSD? What about that PTSD? What about, postpartum? And there were women that were commenting about the childbirth and child issues. And while they're not the exact same, PTSD can happen from postpartum depression. So what I read, I guess let's just get into it. You want to smoke, Justin? Should we get super baked to talk about this shit? No, listen.
I'm just gonna say stupid stuff when I can because this is honestly, like I'm gonna just put it out there from my perspective. Yeah. I never planned to have babies. I don't fuck with chicks that have like 20 kids and are fucking cuckoo. So it's like I don't have to deal with this stuff. So I don't even know about it.
That's nothing. Okay. That is a perspective to have though. See. And that's what I want to see. I want to see all the different perspectives. Like I would like a woman to come up and talk about it, but maybe we'll get that. I don't know. The thing about it though is that I read about this, guys. Men actually do go through this. Jenna, men go through postpartum depression. It's a 10% of the population. Yep, that's a real thing.
I thought it was just like stressed out because you got a nagging bitch. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's about, it can happen up to 3. It can happen about 3 days after the birth, and for like 2 weeks. And the problem is if you keep saying it's that for like a month or two after that, it's either PTSD or you're just making shit up. Because they talk about this, it's an imbalance in your hormones right after the pregnancy. But yeah, it's something that men go through too. It's crazy, huh? Jeremy's like, I'm out of here. I don't even know what are we doing. Are we smoking weed? He's thinking. Anyway, there is a disclaimer, guys. So you're more than welcome to smoke and drink or whatever adult language can be used.
It's gonna be used. I came into Wayland the Farmer's fucking stream with I love GMO foods as my name.
I love it. I mean, McDonald's all the way. Let's have a smoke. I wasn't down in yet, but F me, did you have
postpartum depression?
No, we didn't, but it's not. It's about the roller coaster and emotions that's happening during that whole process. The man is kind of.
I feel.
Go ahead.
Well, it's a tough subject, in all honesty, because for a man to bring this up to his woman and go to her and be like, "Yo, you dealing with some postpartum lately? You're fucking cranky or something." You know what I mean? That's like calling a chick pregnant that isn't pregnant. Like, you're gonna get fucked up if she isn't.
Right. That's why it's more like don't blame her if she is cranky for a few weeks after the pop. Everyone keeps popping.
I'm not used to this. I'm not used to it.
StreamYard. Yeah, it's all right, man. It takes a minute.
I can't see anybody really, and I can't see no chat, and it's like.
You can if you.
I'm not scaring people away. My opinions are just that, my opinions, and do not reflect opinions of the other great gentlemen or women that may be here.
Yeah, guys, definitely come up and talk about it if you want.
Well said.
A lot of comments.
Well, it's fair, right? I'll take credit for my big mouth. Don't worry.
Well, that's what this show is about. We can discuss topics and be like, "Oh, I didn't know that about this topic," and just be cool about it. I'm make light about it.
I'm really curious about this guy's tattoo. What is it? Is there a tattoo right here?
Is that like a castle? Eureka's
castle? Do you have a tattoo? Yeah. What is it?
Which one?
The one on your face, the big one on the corner there, like up there.
This one or this one?
Other side. Yeah, that side.
This one?
Yeah. It should be pinned.
It's my daughter's name.
Kayla.
Oh, sick. That's sick.
Let me see.
My buddy had his eyebrows taken off and his name's in like calligraphy or something written for his eyebrows. They were pretty sick.
This one's my Spider, my Black Widow. This one's my daughter's name.
That's dope.
Is it not pinned anymore? Let me.
Why do we keep losing homie there?
Not sure. I think he's having some connectivity problems.
He's probably not used to it either because you keep trying to back out to go back and it drops you out. And...
He's been my co-host on here for a few episodes. I know he knows what he's doing. I think he's just having some tech problems.
Maybe not.
Your opinion doesn't matter.
Jeremy,
just send your own experience.
Yeah,
my opinion always matters, Alyssa May.
Okay, I see the thing in the green thing that was wrong.
You're on private chat. If you go to comments, or no, does it say comments?
Yeah, it's fickle. But if you hit the wrong button when you're exiting, you'll completely exit the whole fucking life.
that fucking part.
I agree with that.
I did it like 5 times, so I'm just like, fuck it, I can't see nobody. They're looking.
So
I kind of see you in like a little 1-inch square or something.
So what? Can I ask what is the point of your discussion? Is it are you trying to discuss like identifying factors of postpartum depression? Are you trying to trying to make people aware of resources for postpartum distress? Blah blah blah. Depression.
I have all these things pulled up, but was kind of waiting on. We got at least 2 more guests supposed to show up, and then
I'm just curious how you enter that convo as a man.
Well, as a man, the reason that I brought it up is because I want more children. I know it's ridiculous for most.
It sounds to me like you're just trying to sound like that really good, middle-aged guy that's looking for some nice cutty. You know what I'm saying? Trying to pick up something, trying to get it out there.
I'll explain it. No, yeah,
make all the ladies. I'll make all the ladies swoon.
By the way, guys, it should be pinned at the bottom. Is it not pinned still?
Justin. Alyssa, don't talk to me.
So my angle on this is that, yes, I do. I want more children. And if I'm going to do that, if I'm going to ask someone, especially anywhere close to my age, which, sometimes comes up and most of the time isn't going to happen. Most of the time, women around 40 do not even want to think about attempting it. And so if I have to think about whether or not I want children, then I should probably think about things like this, like what I might be asking a woman to go through in general. Like, hey, you might have to go through these nearly traumatic events again, just for me to have because a lot of guys just think, hey, you're going to give me a baby, like it's like, hey, you're going to do this for me. It's not just like a trip down to the store, like there's more to it. And then find out men go through it too. And you find out a lot of couples have a really hard time at that time when the baby's still a few months old, because of all the your own imbalances coming back into play. So it was just a topic that came up. We were going to hit a different topic. It's just, there's a lot of topics, but I try to also think of topics that most people will have some kind of an angle on. Hello, Miss Kayla.
Oh, okay. It did go. Whoa, that was weird. Sorry.
You were in the backstage, and then I can bring you up.
Someone tell Alyssa to stop tripping in the comments. I don't even know what she's going on about.
She's just messing with you.
I just want to know, does she buy gold makeup by the fucking gallon or what?
I was gonna say, I think if I've never dealt with postpartum depression, personally, I don't. If I have, it wasn't something that I recognized. But
obvious, right?
I've had 4 children, all C-sections, which is it's different, than live births and stuff like that. I did go through a bit of depression because I was pregnant along with other friends during this time, and they were having natural births. And it's an experience that I didn't get to experience. It's very different to have an emergency C-section and your partner be there. It's very scary. It can lose your life.
I did that.
I was there for my sons too.
I didn't do that. What's that, Jeremy? Sorry, bud.
So I was there for my sons too, and I damn near passed out, cut the cord. And I was like, shh.
They let you cut the cord?
Yeah.
I didn't get to do that.
Yeah, my husband did get to do that with my last one. But, I went through a time of not a different kind of a birth. So I felt close to my child, but not super close. And I also was depressed that I didn't get to experience certain things. But the nurses helped me to bond with my children. And there, after, it's different being a mom than it is being a dad, I mean, you bleed, after this child, we didn't ask to have periods, it's just something that a female deals with. We didn't ask to be the one to carry a child, but it is such an amazing, beautiful thing. And it does do so much to your body. Like I get it. There's, it's nice to look at hot, sexy young females, but to look at a grown ass woman who's birthed the child and come over things and helped raise, that's a different kind of woman. And that's a different kind of attraction.
But hold on, you're touching something there that I think is important. The
wrong with that.
Men being attracted to young women that are attractive. that is not necessarily just a, hey, I want a piece of ass. That's also a biological subliminal thought of, hey,
symmetrical thing.
I could this could be a childbearing person. You know, I could carry on my line. That's part of it. Yeah. Are there sleep bags out there?
It's in living things. It's in all living things to procreate.
Yeah, especially when you find out things like your DNA gets passed. So if you're older and you have more problems, having children at that point will make a different child than you would have had. You know, so all those things go into consideration when you are asking a woman to bear your kid. You know, that's why I brought this up. I mean, you know, I'm putting this show together, so a lot of times the topics are going to come from what I think might be something we could talk about. So yeah, this time it does connect directly to me having these thoughts of, hey, I do want more children at some point.
Yeah,
it got me echoing Stoney.
I think it's different, and I think it brings attention, you know, to it. Like I said, I haven't personally dealt with it myself, but there's been other things, you know, months where, you know, I might have let myself go or my home because I'm just so worried about taking care of the baby. I wouldn't call it depression because I deal with a different depression now that is pretty dark, you know, but it's something that I think it should be brought to attention because I don't know where I was going with that thought. Sorry.
No, you're right. Like that. So I thought PTSD and postpartum depression were basically the same thing, and they are not. Postpartum depression it generally is only about 2-week time period after the baby's born. It can lead to PTSD, which, as we all know, is like a traumatic event that can give you lasting issues.
One is a depression.
I used to get ragged on by like Marines and people in the Army and shit when I used to tell them like I grew up in Detroit. I got fucking PTSD. What do you know about being shot at and fucking, you know, crazy shit? People running through your backyard, jumping your fence, your fucking dog almost killing people and shit. Like,
right. That's why it's such a broad topic. That's why we did the first episode on specifically first responders and veterans. But
Jason might I don't know where I'm coming from. I mean,
that's another reason we're coming back to a similar topic because I had this month off for no reason. Thanks, Mark Z. And anyway, I'm coming back to the show, and I thought, well, let's do something similar, something to sort of recap back to the beginning. Look who's here.
Yo, what up, motherfuckers?
What's up, Lily?
I agree with Robert also that
everyone's favorite panhandling Mexican is here. Hey, Sam.
It can last much longer.
Everyone,
than 2 weeks.
Don't forget about the biggest mouth in Canada is right up top.
He's doing a very good job. He's being very chill.
I know. I've been watching.
I've seen some friends go through it. I've seen some friends go through it, and I really feel for those ladies. Sometimes they're not able to bond with their babies. You know, they lose themselves, and it's one thing you can't afford to do. You can't afford to lose yourself when you have a child at home. You know, but I think during that depression, for me, it was just a phase. I was like, I knew what I needed to do to take care of the child. And it was just a phase emotion that I was going through, but I wasn't there. So that was my experience. I've had some friends that have had it really bad and had to like adopt out kids because they were like, okay, this isn't for me.
There's actually a medication that they approved. No surprise there, right, you guys? Oh, we've got this medication for you. Well, just take this. Hello, Jenna.
You were speaking about, I don't know too much about postpartum, but you were speaking about the not being able to bond afterwards. Mm-hmm. You know, Mary, when my son was born, September 11th, he passed away within 2 hours because he was really premature. And anyway, I couldn't imagine like the shit that she really went through in her head.
But you might have went through something too, Samo, and a lot of times you're right. That's an extreme scenario, and I think more obvious. But a lot of times, guys, let me read off the quote symptoms of baby blues, and you guys might recognize these as like a lot of typical write-offs from men, like mood swings, anxiety, sadness, irritability, feeling overwhelmed, crying, reduced concentration, appetite problems, and trouble sleeping. So those are all very similar, very not similar, very like quote normal issues that you might say someone has, right? But if you see all those things hitting someone all at the same time and it's intense, there's a difference. Like Kayla was saying, she knew she didn't have it really like what you would say is postpartum depression, but you still went through a little bit of a rebalancing, right afterwards.
That sounds like my entire life,
right? Doesn't it?
I'm on a goddamn roller coaster.
Was different than the whole, you know what I mean? It's still, you still go through the bleeding like they do, everything's contracting, but I have really bad stomach issues nowadays because I've had 4 different doctors in my stomach ripping my guts out, playing with them, so I got stomach issues. So I use CBG to help me a lot. So that's a different thing that I deal with, and insecurities with the C-section stuff is different than the regular.
I could see that, yeah, and I could see like I know some women have had water births. I think that's an interesting difference, but that's off subject. Well, Jenna stepped away. Jenna, did you think you experienced a more deep depression for a few weeks than normal?
Jen's going hot for teacher right now. She got a glasses.
I'll tell you my experience. I had depression my whole life, and I knew I did, but it wasn't anything that I experienced or like told to anyone else, or like my mom didn't know, or like no one knew. I knew. But as soon as I had a baby, it doubled. And it was like so unreal that I couldn't overcome it anymore. And like things in my life were just like building up so much. Like I could handle the first depression, but when the second one hit me, it was too much. And I actually ate my placenta because I heard that the vitamins and things out of your placenta. So my ex-husband would come home and be like, "Did you eat your placenta today? Like you're acting a little crazy," And I would go and take those placenta pills, and it would help me like cool down. But it cooled down that depression, but it didn't help the one that was already there.
Right.
So when I went and got help after having a baby and realizing like I had something to deal with, I got diagnosed with a double depression.
They said, I've also read here that if you already have depression issues, it can make it compounding. It makes it much easier to get postpartum.
I do feel what you're saying.
What happened to me, Waylon? It was like I knew and I had it, and I knew I had it, but I just didn't want to deal with it. And then when I had a kid, it was compounding, and it was double depression, and then there was nothing I could do but have to deal with it, or I was on my way out.
Right.
That's
Michael, what'd you say?
No, it's cool, dude.
What do you mean? Go ahead.
You got it already.
I feel like that's gotta be hard, girl, because at the same time you're trying to take care of your baby, yourself, your home. Like I think that's
because at the hospital they gave you that whole thing of like, don't shake your baby, and I was like, I'm never gonna fucking shake my baby. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then when it double hit me that this is life, and like this thing is sucking off you, and it's 5 o'clock in the morning, it's 3, like all the things.
That's exactly what it is.
Unbelievable that I had to be like, take this baby or I am going to hurt it. And
That's
I
exactly
set it
what
down
it is.
on my husband, and
I felt it too.
And I was like, I never thought that would be me. Ever.
And fathers get it too.
Kids.
And it hits fathers hard too, because you're in love with your wife very much, and then all of a sudden something else you love very, very much takes it away, and then both of them are like kind of like separated from you. You know what I mean? It's hard to explain, but
the focus is now on the child,
and that added on to it. It definitely can drive a man crazy. And I've
Well,
been
and
there
I know,
and
and
have
that's
actually
the hard.
struggled with it.
I think that's the hard part about the men part of it is like now us women are very focused on like helping that child to survive.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we need to men need sex to make them
Well, that's not
feel
really
loved.
what I meant, but
And if
Intimacy.
we're all giving all our loving here, and like I'm telling you, I've never been a mom before, so I don't know how to do all these things. So I'm learning this, but I also have to learn how to take care of my husband at the same time.
Yeah,
I understand that now, but like just because I don't have sex with you doesn't mean I don't love you. And I feel like, do you guys feel like that? Like if I don't sleep with you, I don't love you?
It's not a conscious thought. It's a subconscious thought.
I don't feel like my husband does. I'm going to marriage counseling right now. So it's kind of, I feel like that's all part of a communication. Like you need to know your partner, especially if you're having a child with them. That bringing a child into a world is a very serious thing. You need to know how to properly communicate with them when they're hurting, because you're their person to help them through life, you know. It's all part, you know, and addressing it like being a considerate partner means I'm going to address this not in a douchebaggy, bitchy way. I'm going to address you because I care. I can see that you're hurting or going through something. How can I help you out?
Right.
It's about teamwork. And you do lose focus because that baby needs you and needs so much.
But you got to be careful not to play into it either, though. And it's such a fine line for men, for the man and the woman to say, oh, well, the baby, you know, I'm so, everything's the baby. Well, no, you know, like it's about how you're dealing with everything.
This is what happened to me is like what I felt in my time was that my whole life changed, but my husband's didn't change. He still went to work. He still went to the bar after work, and then he came home and like spent like 5 minutes with the kid, and he went to bed. Like my whole life changed. I didn't get to go out and see friends. Like all the things that happen in a woman's life for this, but his life didn't change. Yes, financially, he had to like help us and come home, like financially, and come home and play with him for an hour, and then he went to bed. But for me, everything changed in my world.
Starting with the tits.
I couldn't breastfeed anymore because I didn't like the feeling, because maybe I felt like my breasts were sexual for so long that it was like weird to have someone suckle on them to be like a feeding thing, and I was like, this is weird. Like I don't like.
It's weird to go back. It's weird after that.
Yeah.
We had a really hard time doing that anyway. So it was breastfeeding wasn't a thing for me. I wanted to have a beer and I wanted to smoke my weed, and I didn't want my kid to have anything to do with it.
Well, so I wanted to bring up real quick. Have you guys seen those stories? And I know there were multiple of like a young couple, you know, dangling a baby over a balcony. You know, you got Michael Jackson. You got that's the famous story. You have like couples leaving babies in dumpsters, things like that. And you think, how can that be? How can that happen? Well, this is very similar. This is directly connected to this subject.
There's a lot of reasons people.
Yes, there's probably more than just this. But what I mean is, like a young couple trying to go through the stresses of a baby is 10 times more difficult than an adult. You know, with just
Now, a while ago, I had a neighbor. She already had a son, I believe, and she gave birth to a daughter. And she was so messed up that she didn't want to be around this kid. The dad had to take care of her since it was it was about 2 or 3 weeks of it. And she like threatened to kill the baby, could not be around it at all.
Sounds pretty severe.
Really fucked up thing. And then when she got over it, she was so depressed about it depressed about the way she felt that it fucked her up for a while too.
Yeah, because you think, well, what's wrong with me? You know, I shouldn't be like this. And there
exactly. And that's that's what I go through with my depression. I get stuck, and I don't know why I feel like it. And then it's just a loop that never stops.
Yeah, that's the scary postpartum, when they start disassociating with the baby, they start losing themselves and wanting to harm
talking about it.
the baby. But
there's a lot of factors that go into a lot of stuff. Like, I mean,
one at a time, guys.
Sorry.
So it gets so deep that people don't even want to have kids anymore. You know, you have that first baby and you get stuck with that postpartum depression, and it makes you wonder about having another one. You know, am I going to go through the same problems again? Am I going to feel
one of
this
the
way
reasons.
again?
Like that baby took away from her spending time with her other baby, and I don't know, it drove her crazy for a little bit.
Yeah,
that's one reason I think about it is like, okay, that's something I have to.
But to somebody that ultimately wants kids, that doesn't matter to them. It's always a thought.
Kids, we didn't go through that.
It's always a thought in your mind, but that doesn't matter to you. You don't. That's not a factor.
I think I'm not a good father, or I yell too much or nothing, but I never ever wanted to hurt we never went through that. You know what I mean?
Some of what I experienced was because, and I hate to say it like this, but my son has special needs, and when he was a very small infant, there was no way to tell that yet. And so all I had was a baby that would not stop crying for many hours, and I'm not exaggerating. No matter what you do. You know, and so I saw that. And I was like, this is what those people feel when they're at that extreme and they want to do something, you know, worse. And luckily, you know, we made it through and he's a good boy now, but it's like, it was just, it would drive you insane because there was.
Yeah. Now, if you look like back in the past, before this was ever even an issue, like no one named it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Parents did drowning their kids, all sorts of crazy things, and it was just chalked up as insanity.
Samuel, you got 3 kids. I mean, were you there for the did you feel any depression after did someone have a child?
Yeah, he won't shut up. I'm trying to shoo him without you guys seeing it.
Hey, Michael, if you want, just mute yourself in between talking. Yeah. That would be great.
How do I fucking
hit the mic picture of the mic? I can
press your mic over at the bottom.
Yep, I just want him to know as well. Okay. Sorry, guys. Just trying to.
There's some great comments going through too, guys.
Yeah, a lot.
I can't see comments.
I can't see any of the comments.
So first off, if you touch the chat, you actually have to go over to the comments, and you either have to look at comments or the video. You can't do both at the same time unless you got a different phone, unless you got a different device. Hey, we're veterans at this shit, yo. Second off, Waylon.
Evo, what did your wife say? I'm missing all these. I'm missing all
this. There's a lot of chat. There's a lot of chat, Jenna. There's too much chat. Let's just keep on with the show.
So Waylon, first off, I can't believe you asked me that, because first off, you should know they aren't my boys. They're my adopted children, so I wasn't around for none of them.
I did not know that.
You did not? You've been my friend for how long, and you did not know that?
Like 4 months.
I did not know that as well.
It's been longer than 4 months.
Since June, June.
Really? It's only been 4 months. Well, anyway,
commendable. It's commendable.
Better not forget you guys' anniversary. Waylon's got that shit written down on the calendar, bro.
No, it's just like when I started live streaming.
You didn't have to look away from the screen.
So never mind that. Sorry, man.
Do-rag, how did you feel after your boy was born, and how was your postpartum after your boy was born?
Actually, I took it a little different because, all right, so my situation at hand with that was a little different. One of her best friends was going into labor the same day, damn near the same time. So when I guess I got to deal with it a little different for the simple fact of when my son passed, another child miraculously started getting better. So I felt like my son was born for that reason. So I didn't really, that's what helped me deal with my son passing and the whole thing afterwards. So, but her was a little bit different story. I think that she still fights it a little bit.
That's powerful though, man, for you to have that to get you through. Like that's an incredible. You have told me that story. So
yeah,
I have no.
So some of the people here, I don't know if everybody's heard that story or not, but I will give it a short version. My wife's best friend and her both went into labor the same day. My wife's best friend's daughter started going downhill real bad, and they needed to life flight her to a children's hospital in St. Louis. My son was born. My son passed, As soon as my son passed, her best friend's daughter miraculously just became better. So that's how that happened. Like literally minutes afterwards, they got a call saying that the baby was just doing so much better all of a sudden. So, I think my son came early for that reason. He was meant to do that. And that's how I dealt with it. And that's how it made me okay.
I can see how long that was ago.
How long ago has it been? Oh, shit. 6 years?
Amazing, Sam. That's
6
amazing.
years?
It's truly amazing.
Oh, yeah. What I'm saying? That's I try to do that.
Years, man. Outliving one of my babies.
Oh, look, dude. Here you go. Watch. Y'all want to see. Let me show you something.
Remember they say angels are only here until they're not needed no more.
That's the thing. Is he did his purpose. I'm sorry.
Yep.
He did his thing. He made that baby live.
And in the process changed you, Sam.
And helped
You
you.
understand?
Helped
Helped you.
And
I mean,
that's how big he was.
You might not think it sounds. I don't mean to sound like mean or sick or anything, but like.
So this.
You know what I mean?
Go back a little
Yes,
bit.
ma'am.
Do-rag, go back a little bit. And down. And down.
Me?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So this right here is my son, and this right here is one of the McDonald's toys. Those little. He was that little. It was literally like that big.
Let's pull him up.
Yeah. Can you put him big screen? Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
So that was one of them little soft toys. Remember what they used to give? But that was him. So I think he was born for a reason, and he did it.
He did his thing.
So therefore, in that instance, I didn't really deal with that postpartum depression. Really, I think that I shed myself into work and I just dealt with it. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
You think that is what a postpartum is? Like maybe like a loss of a loved one, like you dealt with some kind of depression of that loved one. Maybe not postpartum, but you have a.
I think postpartum is different for each
could have been for male.
You knew they were gonna die.
Well, I don't know what losing a child at birth is, so that can't be postpartum because that would be like having the baby and
grieving.
So like, what would that be?
Grieving.
No, it would still be postpartum because she would be separating from it in a more permanent way still. So I think it would still be but it would immediately also be PTSD, I would assume, because those both can be combined. Yeah, exactly. So I think everybody could have this as a Siamese twin can have that feeling of depression when they've been separated. If they've been successfully separated, that can have similar.
I've actually had another friend of mine had a lot of miscarriages, and she tried to have a baby, and she kept going, and it kept, it was a lot of them.
That's depressing in itself.
And then they got through it and tried again. And now they have a 4-year-old little boy. And,
there you go. See, now that's a good story, Mike. I appreciate that. You guys hear that? We're not just trying to depress you.
She has 2 other kids before that. She had 2 other kids, and then she got with my best friend. And then that kept happening for years. And now they have a 4-year-old together too.
Let's get Christy. So you've have some
Jimmy Mead. What's up, bud?
Yeah. So the reason I hopped up is because my story is like a lot of mix in between everyone's. I had 6 miscarriages to begin with, and was told I would never have kids.
You just came in from outside.
I got pregnant with my daughter and found out it was a doctor mistake why I kept miscarrying, and a hormone deficiency. So I was able to carry my first daughter almost full term. She was 6.5 weeks premature, but she came home the day after I did. So she was good.
Awesome.
I didn't get postpartum with her. Like, my life had meaning then. I changed everything. I was happy I had a kid. And I was with their dad, which he was his whole family was abusive. So I was getting that from left and right. And I found out like when my daughter was 6 months old that I was pregnant again. And I was just like, what the hell? I can't raise a kid like this. So I left. But after I had my second daughter, I didn't have that connection with her. I was trying to get out of an abusive, like I just got out of an abusive relationship. I'm building. I resented my daughter because she took away from my time with my other daughters, which I bonded so hard with. And it was really hard because my older daughter, she had night terrors. So she screamed all night long in her sleep. And so I was awake all night long with her. And my second daughter that I had a hard time bonding with was severely colicky. So she screamed all day long. I never got a break from the screaming because I was the only one there.
That's how my son was. Yeah. So I definitely agree with that. It makes it tough. But I want to address Steve-O's comment here. Steve-O, postpartum depression isn't about the depression of taking care of a live child. That's a depression the entire time they're alive for what? Let's see, however many years you live, right? Little joke there, everybody. No, this is about the separation that happens during the birth. You're used to this thing being so, as a woman, you're used to this living being being completely 100%, supported by you internally.
And it could also mean the complete opposite too. That it being inside you drove you're mad at it.
Like that's called there's a word for that, where you feel like it's a foreign object.
I mean, when we were pregnant with it was in 2009. The baby blues thing was a big thing, and so we had they'd talk to us about it. You know what I mean? And this is when I first found out we were having a daughter. So I was already stunned because I didn't think I could take care of a girl. Now I wish they were all girls, but take care of girls is easy. She's cool, dude.
How old's your girl?
She's 13.
Woo! I'll give you my 11 and 10 year old.
Straight A student, has never been in trouble with school. Amazing human being already.
Toontown in the house. What's up, Felicia?
But after the screaming and crying all day and all night, my sister would stay with me, and I would go into my child's room that was crying, and I would just sit on the floor and I would scream. I knew I couldn't go to my child and harm my child. So I was fully aware of that. But I just needed to scream. And I had so much hate towards this child that was screaming. And I just wanted to sleep. So I'd be like, oh my God, just shut up. And I'm screaming and crying. And I didn't like it. I knew it wasn't me. I knew it was chemical imbalance. But later on, mine lasted for a long time. I didn't bond with my kid till she was about 6 to 8 months old. That's when I bonded with her. And then I had this huge hole in my heart, in my soul. I hated the connection I didn't have with her because my connection became so freaking strong.
That's something more though, Christy. That's that might go into postpartum psychosis.
Came through fighting on the other side.
So unfortunately, I don't know if a lot of men know this. When you are diagnosed clinically depressed and you get pregnant, you immediately have to cut off your medication.
Mm-hmm.
So everything I had for my depression, I had to quit cold turkey. I had to deal with all that depression through my pregnancies, and I had them back to back. They're only 15 months apart. So I was without my medication for almost 2 years.
No, you're stay-at-home mom.
So you pull all that in, the miscarriages, the abusive relationships, the horrible. I mean, I was on bed rest with both my pregnancies starting at 2 months. I dilated to a 3 at 2 months and had to sit in bed.
Jason asked are you a stay-at-home mom?
I am now.
I am.
I unfortunately have a lot of physical stuff in my health. So I do stay at home with my kids, but I do, I make epoxy art and I sell that. And,
right.
I still make money, but my main job is here at home yet.
Right. Now, do we think, guys, that the postpartum depression can be linked with stay-at-home parents, or even separation anxiety can be linked with parents that go right back to work as soon as they have the child?
I do feel like since I've been a stay-at-home dad for a very, very long time. Like, she's 13, and Christine just had a better job, and it just to make more sense, you know.
Yep.
And we have trust issues, so no one can watch her. Not too many people watch my kids.
Sure.
So and we're broke, so we got that too. Got that going for us. But it's been years and years, and I feel like I need a break all the time. But as soon as I'm out of that house, you could ask any of my friends. I'm like, am I a bad dad for leaving? Am I doing something wrong? Should I turn around? Like, that's a whole fucking time too. Because I used to go on paintball tournaments. My buddy that's no longer with us, but he would just have to tell me to shut the fuck up.
I can vouch for that because he's like, dude, I'm like a duck. I got my ducklings. I'm like, dude, come on with it every time, bro. Every time he's always worried about his ducklings.
That's plan, yeah. I like it. I like the idea of having big families because a few reasons. I wish I had. Once you raise the first couple, theoretically, you have babysitters for the rest, but that's only if you're really good about it.
Truth. I hate that.
Truth.
I hate that.
I agree.
I hate that. I hate that.
I got two older boys.
I get it.
My daughter becomes the babysitter.
I got two older boys, and they are amazing siblings.
You can have older children, but your children should not raise your children. You still
You're
have
right,
to be parents
but
to
here
those
and there.
children. They can babysit.
I was sleeping
they
on the
can
couch
do things, but they should not have to parent your children.
My daughter, she was
I
6
thought-
years old, and she had to change her brother's diaper because I passed out on the couch. I had a hangover. I just fell asleep, you know. And she woke me up, told me she pooped, and I was like sleep talking. I was like, clean it up and clean up all the dinosaur meat too. She will never let me leave that down. Like, she brings that shit up all the time.
Like knowing how to do it and doing it once or twice is, or you know, just knowing how to do it is fine. But like, just change your brother or sister's diaper all the time. That's not cool.
I mean, we taught her CPR and shit at a young age too. So I mean,
CPR, that's good.
That's
I mean,
actually
what you're talking about is more like my friend. She has 5 kids. The 3 of them are the twins are about to be 17. Her oldest just turned 18, but she's also got an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, and those 16 and 18-year-olds are with those kids more than she is. That's what they're talking about.
Is she supporting all those kids financially? Like,
my 11-year-old does that now with his baby brother, and it's hard to watch because I'll call on a Friday night and he'll be like, "Oh, I'm giving the baby a bottle," and I'm like, "Why is your dad not giving his new child a bottle? Like, you just had a full week of school. You should be in bed resting." What I'm talking about is when they're 17, 19, 21, I can ask them to keep an eye on their 7 years younger brother, and I could go out on town for a night. You know what I mean? Like, when they're a little bit older, they can help me out.
One night. That's not every single
I know. That's what I'm talking about. I can't wait for that. I'll be like, "Listen, kids, I'm taking your dad out to the dispensary. We're going out to the city. Y'all stay here, be good. I'm video chatting, setting up cameras, and I'm out for the night."
There's just a fine line between
babysitting,
that.
though. Everyone should babysit their younger siblings, but you don't get to parent your younger siblings.
No, that's I agree.
And that's what I don't agree with. I hate that for my 11-year-old.
My daughter would babysit her brother, but then not change his diaper the entire time. And then want $20 for it. And this
I don't know.
is the
I've
same
had
daughter
times
that
I
doesn't
was
talk to
over-
me anymore. So hey,
one of my son's diapers would be like hanging down. Like, what the fuck? I haven't changed your diaper in that long. Like, something wrong with me? Like,
or he just went through a lot.
What the fuck happened?
Sometimes they just come around the corner and it's
dragging their diaper like.
Just be like, damn, I must have been really stoned.
Slide mine around the diapers.
Drank like 4 cups in the last hour, and it all came out.
Oh, and I had a stage where my son would throw poop at me. It was really bad.
Okay. Randy.
My son used to go like behind the recliner and shit. And you come back out with full diaper, like, where the hell have you been?
Jimmy says, I basically raised my little sister, but that's what had to be done. My mom wasn't partying.
I mean, I don't think we're saying it's bad for the sibling to be a sibling and take care of. Sometimes, man, someone's got to step up, and those people
you have
right
to. Yeah.
They deserve a lot in life because
it doesn't mean it's fucking fair.
That's
though.
hard to do. That's hard to throw your childhood away.
You're right. It doesn't mean it's fair, but
it ain't fucking fair.
Not much in this life is fair, man.
But if you're a single parent and you got a kid old enough, sometimes they have to step up because mama's got to go bust her ass to get the bills paid.
Yep.
It doesn't make it ideal.
Or daddy. I mean, I'm not going to say there aren't some shit moms out there because there absolutely are. But when it's a single parent household, sometimes the older siblings take on more than what they should. I raised my 4 other siblings. I made sure they got to school. My mom was a single mom. I mean, half the time, but
I was raised by my sister, to be honest. So I'm that younger child that was raised by my sister. And my mom was a single mom who worked at the gas station right next door. And she would come over and check on us. And look at me, I turned out just fine. I really love my sister to death. She deserves the world because, she was just there for me. She was always my sidekick.
You say you turned out just fine? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
I also believe in single parent, single parents because like I'd rather be a single parent and taking care of my child.
And stepdads, dude, when stepdads step in and step up.
Being in a relationship where you're screaming and yelling at each other all the time, or hitting each other in front of the children and stuff like that.
That's about that's communication. Some people don't realize they're going through these things. That's why it's important to point out some of the symptoms of this or that or whatever it is. But it's also important to know, okay, the baby's coming soon. Sure. We should maybe think about this ahead of time. I'm afraid of situations where, and I might take a lot of hate for this, but I don't like it if you play it up. If you in any situation, oh, it must be this, or like 10 years later,
you got to struggle and at least try to fight through it before you know if it's real or just in your head. I mean, I'm not trying to say it's in your head at all.
Well, yeah, it's a real thing, but you have to women, like Jenna said earlier, she kind of joked about it, but to her point, you as a woman, if you're having a child and you're with your man, you have to take him into consideration as to the point where he's not going through the same changes, so he can't envision what it is that you have going on. And he also is going through changes. So like, it's all about communication, guys. If you know somebody who has a baby, keep this stuff in mind. Don't baby them. Don't go up and say, oh, you must be going through PPD. I heard about that on Waylon, the Indoor Farmer Show, People in the Boxes.
Good night, bro.
Elisa May, we've definitely got some opinions from Elisa May, I'm sure.
Well, I only had postpartum one time, and that was after my miscarriage.
But you felt it. You felt it differently than your other child.
Yeah, my first one I was overjoyed with. He was the cutest baby in the whole world. But then when I lost one, it was really sad. And then I wanted to make another one right away. And then we got Dill.
I see. So yeah, that's more traumatic, I think. And I think that I just read too where it says people confuse baby blues with PTSD or PPD, and it's actually they're a little bit different.
Yeah.
I was kind of the opposite when my son was born.
But it's kind of the same thing because depression is a chemical imbalance.
They're similar. It's like actual postpartum depression is something that you're going to have for a couple of weeks. The baby blues, they say, is about 3 to 4 days. Now, I don't know how they can pinpoint that. I guess they've done a ton of research. This is.
I really think postpartum can last longer than a couple weeks.
Yeah, me
well,
too.
but then you're getting into PTSD.
But like, I wouldn't say I have PTSD from my child. I have PTSD from other stuff. But my postpartum, where I couldn't bond with my child, where I was psychologically going through all these hormone changes and trying to get on top of my emotions as my body is changing rapidly and I'm not sleeping and I'm not eating, and Christ's sake, I don't know how many times I didn't shower for like a week and my hair's matted and I'm just losing my shit. The house is a mess. Like my life was crazy. That lasted for probably 6 months. And that was postpartum. And my doctors told me that was postpartum. But because I suffer from depression, it was harder to pull out from the postpartum.
Okay, so I have to make a couple corrections. One thing, I did read some symptoms earlier. Those symptoms were of the baby blues, not of postpartum depression. The baby blues were a bunch of fairly normal, crying, feeling overwhelmed, irritability. But postpartum depression, there's a longer list of much bigger symptoms. Too much to even read. So and I might have, here's the other correction. I might have misunderstood. It says it can develop within a few weeks after giving birth. It doesn't mean that it's only lasts a few weeks. I read it from multiple websites. I'm trying to get as much information.
That's what I'm saying. It can prolong. It can prolong. I've seen friends to where they've had the baby and months later they adopt it out because that's it's a dark thing. Also,
I don't think if I didn't deal with depression my whole entire life and know the signs and know the warnings, like know that, hey, this is my head. This is not really how I feel. This is my head being messed up. If I didn't know how to separate the two, I don't think I would have made it through postpartum because I would have either hurt my child or hurt myself.
I feel like disassociating and harming is like a couple of big things to look for.
I think I read somewhere like why they give the woman the baby right away is for like
to bond immediately.
Something like that. Yeah, it's like
it's like a bonding term now. But when I had kids, they didn't do that.
Exactly. Some women don't get that because
and when the father's there, they usually let the father give them their first bath and cut the umbilical cord for the father to bond as well.
And that as well. But I heard that this is like statistically why they do some of these things because like women have they have these things because you don't see your baby right away and freaking out.
So I never got to do the first bath thing. That's kind of cool. I would have loved to do that.
Well, I have a kind of messed up story about my first bath. It was different for Jasmine because for my other kids, they didn't separate us at all. But for Jasmine, they went to like an incubator room type with all the kids, where there's a whole bunch of babies.
Yeah,
and that's where I watched it. For my sons, we did it right in the room. The boys never left the room, not once. They must have changed it up between then.
I didn't get to do any of that stuff.
I was giving her a bath, dude, and I kind of coughed. I coughed up this gigantic loogie on the floor. And there's nothing there to clean it up. Except for the rag I'm washing my child with.
Gross.
So I wasn't using that.
Toilet paper, bathroom.
There was nothing. I was in a room with 100 other children.
There should have been a sink to wash your hands there.
There was nothing but kids in boxes, I swear. Not boxes, but you know what I mean.
Kids, little boxes full of children.
That's funny.
So, guys, we've kind of beaten this topic, but I was definitely misunderstood about a few things. Like PTSD is definitely not the same. It's not depression, but a traumatic depression can lead to PTSD because
they both hurt your brain and heart.
It all kind of does the same thing to your brain. Depression,
chemical imbalances.
It's the same chemical imbalance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to try to be clarifying myself as I go through these episodes because I don't know about you guys, but Jason's probably been the other person that's been on as many of these, or the most of these, and I learn something every time. every time we do this, I completely change my perception on the topic that we've talked about, and that's my goal, is to correct myself as I go through this if I have it completely wrong. So I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. It's been great.
This is
you're
awesome,
learning,
man.
and if you have another kid with your crazy ass self, then you'll know.
Yeah,
I think.
What did she with your what self?
You heard me. I said what I said.
A couple more things on that. Like I said, I could have gone through it and not known, with the whole bonding. With my first child, I was 19 years old and I had an emergency C-section at 31 weeks. And I was not able to bond with him because of the drugs and because of the seriousness of the surgery for a whole 48 hours. And he went straight to the NICU. And the good thing is I had doctors prepping me months earlier because I had preeclampsia really bad.
Mm-hmm.
My blood pressures were getting in the 200s on the top and almost seizure level, 100s on the bottom, which wasn't good for him. They asked me, they said, do you want to have a natural birth? We can induce you, or do you want to have an emergency C-section because he's so little that if we induce, his lungs may not make it through the pushing and stuff. I said, well, and they said, we'll give you and your spouse some time to talk about it. So we did that, and we decided that it was my first surgery ever. We're like, we're going to do the surgery, whatever's best for his health, or gives him the best chance. And it was really hard. I was really I wasn't like close to him in the NICU. He was there for a month, but he came out breathing on his own. He got to go home at 4 pounds. He did really, really well. And I was breastfeeding for a while he was in the NICU, and I felt like that was a pressure that was put on me more because I was kind of raised old fashioned, but the nurses were also like, it's so good for him. And so after going through, my first surgery, having my child not with me, and, my spouse and I were staying in the Ronald McDonald House, I also was on pain medications at that time, and that was my first time ever using pain medications. So I wasn't like fully there. After we left the hospital, I stopped breastfeeding and I was like, we're going to formula. But I never made it to the point where I wanted to like harm my child or got super depressed. I just, like I said, I was going through the motions and just kind of lost myself.
Now you touched on something there that I think is important too. There are a lot of, and especially today with all the things going on, there's a lot of pregnancies that have issues during the pregnancy. Preeclampsia is a big one. And if you guys don't know, like high blood pressure, other things that would cause the mother to have to be on bed rest or at least have to sit at home, not work anymore, and like you're supposed to have her legs up. Like my son's mother was told to not be doing anything. She had high blood pressure. She had him 2 months early. And that alone can make you sort of resent that child. Months of, oh, you've been restraining me.
I was ready for it to be over.
Exactly. So
because they tried to hospitalize me, and I was like, no way. Like, how am I supposed to like be at home? And I had it 4 times. I've had all emergency C-sections. I've had preeclampsia with all of my children. And my other boy is 13 months from my oldest. So, I mean, it was, and that time I used, I think it was like niacin extra ibuprofen because I realized the pain medications when I was, the first time I realized that. It's like, we're not doing that again. And I made myself, I was up walking that evening. I made myself get up and over it because I had to do these things. I had 2 kids depending on me.
Yeah, no, I think that's important to point out that before does matter too, just like after, just like any traumatic situation, sometimes what you did beforehand can affect what happens or how you deal with it.
I mean, a lot goes on in those 9 months. A whole lot.
Yeah, a ton of things. And nowadays you're having more and more and more early births, and I don't know how that affects
yeah, my newborn niece, named after my daughter Jasmine. She's tiny, dude. Never seen a baby so small.
I think we're going to wrap it up here, guys. I really appreciate it. I think we could just keep going in circles. I love hearing all the stories. You guys really gave me a better perspective. I don't know what you guys feel. Kasia, I don't think you've had any children, but do you have any perspective on this? I appreciate you hanging out, and I know you would speak up if you wanted to. You're my chill friend. You're cool. I like it.
Yeah. Mine isn't the same though. Mine is for sure PTSD involved.
Did you have a miscarriage?
No. So I had a daughter. She was born in February 2013, and she passed away in April of 2013 to SIDS.
Wow.
She went to sleep and never woke up. I went to school. So my postpartum started after, because I went to school, and on the second day of school, she passed away. Because I told myself I was going to do this for the better, and it didn't turn out the way I wanted. But it definitely made a lot of stuff, because the father wanted to immediately try to have again, and I was, no, absolutely not. I'm not ready.
So sorry.
And then that turned into us splitting, him cheating and marrying someone else and having a kid with them. So there's a lot of stuff that has turned into it. And then being together with someone for so long with kids, and then you split up from them and you are no longer allowed to see these kids. They're not a part of my life anymore the minute we broke up.
Yeah, that's rough.
So for me, it's a lot of, I might not be ready to have my own, but trying to date someone who even has kids is a whole nother thing.
Right.
To get over from myself and my personal issues, to try and work it out, to be in that person's life. But then having the fear of being yanked away, of being attached to kids.
Yeah.
At this point.
Attached. Yeah.
6 years. One of them was literally born a month before we started dating.
Oh, wow.
His entire life, I was a second mom.
Or even
And
worse
now I have no access to him.
Or even worse, them holding them over your head or something, or like you can do this, or you can do this.
Totally different thing.
Yeah.
Shit like that. Yeah.
I did not
So
know
even
that.
now, trying to get back into the dating world and stuff, like, it's definitely traumatic and definitely depressive when people are like, oh, I have kids. I'm like, oh God, I got to go through it again. I don't know if I can. I'm sorry. You may not get a chance.
That's definitely the disorder, like you said. Yeah, I agree with that. That's definitely PTSD. It might have started as PPD, postpartum depression, but it definitely turned into PTSD all the way.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry, honey. So sorry.
It all boils down to like fear. You know what I'm saying? Really.
I'm
fear.
lucky.
I mean, I walked 9 months pregnant. I gassed my car. I drove myself to the hospital.
Fancy.
I walked myself into the hospital and almost passed out. I was 8 centimeters walking in.
Oof.
And then they did the epidural. And then she decided she didn't want to make a scene. They lied to me. They told me that, we popped the bag, so you have to give birth, within so long. So I had emergency C-section. That was a lie. And then even during the birth, there was I woke up in the middle of them cutting me open. I woke up. I could feel everything when they started stapling.
They shorted you on the epidural or on the.
It's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, it was all kind, the C-section part of it, and they wouldn't let, people said that the father couldn't get back there for 5 hours. They wouldn't let him. They said I was a problem patient, but all I remember is going, oh my God, I can feel all that.
Right. Actually, Mary felt had that same experience where she woke up when they were taking the kids out. And Steve-O, I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna work. I'm trying to ease into that. That's why I feel where Kasia's coming from. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm trying to avoid that at this moment in time. You know what I mean? Because
I thought they were yours, man. This whole time.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but that does make it more difficult because it would have been obvious if they were your kids. Okay, duh, you know, we'll find a way. But now it's like, well, so yeah, that's tough.
But I really feel like you've been their father. It would be more traumatic for her, like the kids, not to have you around. And I don't think Mary's going to do that to you or the kids.
I don't think so either, just for the simple fact of how the other end of it came about with the real biological. You know, he's in prison right now for hurting one. I mean, you know, almost killing the baby. And so I don't know though, because once situations change, things could change. It could get hateful. It could get worse.
Your kids are so much older though that they have this love. You are their father. They know no different. Like,
right?
That's
They don't.
Be
they
a
don't.
hard one.
Stepfathers
It
do a
is.
lot, bro.
It kind of depends because my dad and
my
my
dad
mom
is my
divorced
dad.
and took me away when I was 12. And I hated my mom because of all the bullshit my dad told me. You know what I mean? So it really doesn't matter is if she decides to be not a good person and turn it around and make him look like a very awful person. They can.
Yeah, there's a lot of different factors, you know. Lots of different factors at play right at the moment that I have.
Every time I went to my dad's house, my dad talked shit about my mom. Every time I went back to my mom's house, my mom talked shit about my dad.
What's up, Cody, man? Yeah, I've done my best to avoid those situations at the moment. They're not going to be.
Jeremy, bro, you got to give us. You got to try to give a back and forth. So when we got to try and let somebody finish a thought.
Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good, bro. I haven't talked to
you
in a lot. Nice to have you up for sure.
No problem with
it's tough with a lot of people. We're all good. Tough, you know, and I have to be the asshole sometimes and try to control things.
I do have a problem with that. I'm sorry.
Sure, no problem. I like the tattoo. I mean, it's just dark enough that I can't see everything, and it makes me want to see more. You know, maybe
my
later.
damn light.
So
you're gonna have to log on to his OnlyFans for that, bro.
Sam, were you finishing a thought, bro? Sorry.
I don't remember.
Well, things are gonna change for you a lot. Sorry, everybody.
It happens, don't it?
Oh, the thing was, you know, just we cross the bridges when we come to them, though. At this point, so
good. No, I think you guys are doing pretty good right now, as could be expected. Yeah, guys, let's wrap it up. I appreciate it. Next week, if you guys listen, we got 20 people still in here. If you guys have ideas for topics, remember a couple things. We want it to be a topic that almost everybody can have something to say on. Not just some topic where we got to have an expert up here or whatever, you know, like I do want to get experts and at least professional people up to talk about stuff. Eventually that's the idea, but I don't want it to be something that not everyone can have a say on. You know, it's a show where anyone in the audience can come up and talk about it. And that's kind of the point. So with that being said, guys, thank you very much. Let me find our outro in here. And if you guys in the boxes want to stay for a sec to chat afterwards, any questions or anything?
No, fuck you.
All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. Until next week, Thursday night at 8 p.m. or 8 Central Time. Appreciate it. Peace.
Bye.